What an honor it is to be here at this International Ocean Film Tour. What a concept! Let's share the ocean with the world with films such as you have just witnessed. Those big waves and that beautiful reef around Bemisi. I mean, we are so privileged. Thank you, Ocean Film Tour, for making this possible, for bringing us together, and to reflect on the big questions. Who are we anyway? Where did we come from? Where are we going? The big, big, deep questions. Imagine, in all of the history of life on Earth, here in the 21st century, we can look at the stars. We know what they are. Our long ago ancestors could look, but they did not know. Other creatures, elephants, dolphins, whales, big fish can look up and dream, but they do not know what we know. We know Earth is blue in a universe of unfriendly options. We have a place blessed with an ocean filled with life. Our sister planet, Mars, is beautiful, but we can't live there without a lot of effort. Maybe someday humans will be living on Mars, but now we have 7 billion of us on this magical, amazing, wondrous miracle of a planet. Nothing like it in the universe. And it's filled with life, not just us, but all of those gazillions of other creatures, most of them still unknown, unnamed, and most of them in the ocean. We're beginning to explore as never before. We have a chance, we, lucky to be here in the 21st century as humans measure time. And we humans have this gift of learning things, of passing it along, learning things, passing it along. So now we, you, know, as none of our predecessors could know, could not measure the changes that are taking place on the planet that is our home in that universe. Now we know what I could not know as a child. We did not have the capacity to be high in the sky or deep in the sea, or to be able to look at our polar areas or look at the land and see how we have altered the nature of nature, the nature of the world that keeps us alive. We are gifted with an opportunity that has never been possible before, and if we wait much longer, may never come again. This is the moment when we can see that our influence on our home may lead to a planet so changed that we cannot survive. Polar bears have a possibility of not surviving this century. Now we know what we're putting into the ocean, what we're taking out of the ocean, what we're putting into the skies, what we're taking from nature is changing this little blue miracle in the universe. In my lifetime, I've been a witness to these changes. So have you. I've been around a little bit longer, so I've seen a little more change than most of you. When I began exploring the ocean in the 1950s, the world was so different. Already, our impact was obvious, but nothing like what has happened since the 1950s. When people ask me, and they often do, what is the best place to go diving? I say, almost anywhere 50 years ago. So, we have the evidence. Did not have the evidence when I was a child, or any who preceded those who lived in prior times, and all of those other smart animals on the planet. And I think about albatrosses, big brain, manta rays, they're really smart, but they do not know what the kids, our children of today, understand. That we are altering the natural world that keeps us alive. We see that what we put into the atmosphere through burning fossil fuels is warming the planet, acidifying the ocean, altering the nature of the ocean. The warming, the changes generally are fostering storms of greater frequency and greater intensity. Our requirements, or we think of them as needs, most often they are choices about our use of energy. It has propelled who we were 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, even 50 years ago, to new levels of prosperity. But there has been a cost that we're now beginning to recognize and say, wait, if we continue doing what we're doing, our future is at risk. So it's all about knowing, which is why I am so pleased to be here with you now. This is about knowing. These films that you are witnessing give us a glimpse of the state of the world, and you, every one of you, becomes an ambassador, a voice, to spread to others who don't know what you know, don't see what you see. Share the evidence of what we're putting into the ocean, what we're taking out of the ocean, how we're taking too much out of the natural systems without accounting or really acknowledging the cost. So, yes, there are oil spills, but one of the biggest problems we now face is that other kind of oil spill. The plastics made of petroleum, if you will, of the same material that we burn for our energy sources, we turn into these gorgeous, wonderful, universally accepted products that have facilitated and made our lives so convenient. But the great inconvenience to life in the sea, that only now are we able to dive in and see the consequences, look at the evidence. What is the real cost of our prosperity? Can we have our prosperity without damaging fatally the nature of the world? The answer is yes. But first you have to know what the issues are. You look at the evidence, and then you change according to what you know. Now we know with every breath we take, we say, or should say, thank you, ocean, thank you, phytoplankton, thank you, photosynthesis, because that's how oxygen is generated, mostly by the tiny, beautiful, jewel-like organisms in the sea that capture sunlight, capture carbon dioxide, generate food, generate oxygen, and they've been doing it for literally billions of years. And here we are, the beneficiaries of all of that action over a long period of time, building, creating a world that is just right for us and for a lot of other creatures that depend on all of that action, starting with microbes, starting with sunlight, starting 4.5 billion years ago. But in a few decades, we human beings, we greedy human beings who didn't know, were cutting through, consuming, degrading those amazing assets in ignorance, not understanding their limits to what we can put into the sea, limits to what we can take out of the sea. The good news, now we know. We can see what I didn't know as a child, the ocean, too big to fail, right? No, now we know it is failing. This image of the fins of a few of the hundreds of millions of sharks that have been sacrificed in recent times because of a luxury taste that humans have developed for soup made of their fins. The sharks have no idea that their greatest enemy could be a terrestrial creature, a primate, us. They've been around for more than 300 million years. And then along we come, and we just get this idea that cutting off their fins, making soup is just one of those things that we should do, right? Well, maybe we need to rethink that. Tuna fish. When I was a child, nobody ate tuna. It was, well, a few people did, especially in the Mediterranean Sea, in coastal areas, in islands, where the big tuna, like these bluefins, would come sailing past, and they'd take a few, and they help sustain the prosperity of those communities, of those people. But today, tuna is available in supermarkets, in restaurants, far inland, far from where they actually live. People have no idea what a tuna looks like. They think a tuna might look like something round and, with a metallic cover that you open, like a can. Or they see tuna all nicely splayed and presented as sushi or sashimi. Those of us who've been privileged to see tuna think cheetah, eagle, a magnificent creature that is worth saving for their own magnificence. What right do we have to eliminate them from the planet just because we have decided in recent years that they taste good? Go figure. It takes thousands of pounds of tiny little phytoplankton organisms over years to make 1 pound of a bluefin tuna. And we think nothing, it just tastes good. We used to think whales were simply commodities. When I was a child, whalers were still being celebrated as great heroes. But we began to see whales with new eyes, new values, new appreciation, to realize whales communicate with one another. We do too. They have families, so do we. They have a brain. Some of us have brains too. But the whole idea that these incredible creatures that we do not know how to cultivate, we can't put one back together once they're gone, but we knew there was a market for whales. And we took whales from where they were 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 100 years ago, and then it was pretty obvious that if we continued doing what we were doing, we would see a time with no whales. Whether you like them alive or dead, if we kept killing them the way we were, nations around the world, people who got into the ocean, divers who got to see whales with new eyes, could see them differently. Well, now we're beginning to see fish and other sea creatures, not just as sea food, but as sea life. They're speaking to us, those fish, if only they could. If they could just be here tonight, and I'd give them the microphone and say, well, what do you think? What do you think about primates? Taking your 33,000 or so variations on the theme of fish and turning them into nothing more than just pieces of meat. I think they would be willing to stand up and try to convince us that there's another way to look at their value as living creatures not just dead meat. Well, so they can't be here. They'd be in trouble if they were here in this air atmosphere. They need oxygen, but they get it surrounded by the ocean. So I'm here to speak for them and to encourage you to speak for life in the sea in all of its many varied forms. You who get out there, down there, see what's there, or at least look vicariously as you are tonight at this occasion where the best and brightest of those who are ambassadors for the sea with cameras, with their voices, are sharing the view. I have been privileged to spend thousands of hours under the sea, sometimes 10 times, living for days, even weeks at a time, getting to know fish, getting to know lobsters, shrimp, all the diversity of life on their own terms, and to enjoy the technologies that have come along in my lifetime did not exist 100 years ago. But now we have access to new technologies, new ways of seeing the sea, little submarines that can take us below where we can go holding our breath or using scuba or rebreathers, below 1,000 feet, below 10,000 feet, into the deepest part of the ocean. It is now within our grasp, although only 3 people so far have made a descent to the deepest part of the ocean and come back. There are probably a lot of us still down there. But the idea, and most of us, I certainly have flown 11 kilometers high in the sky, eating lunch, watching films, taking a nap. 3 people have been the equivalent distance in the deepest part of the ocean. But, you know, that's our gift right now. Early in the 21st century, we can dream of accessing the sea with technologies that will enable divers to put on a submarine instead of a diving suit and take charge, fly into the ocean, explore, bring back evidence of what's happening. Do what scientists do. Observe carefully. Report honestly what you see. Everybody, anybody can do this. Everyone should do it. We're just at that point, like early days of aviation, when people are longing to go up in the sky, and they've succeeded really much better than we have in terms of gaining access to the sea. But this is the moment when new technologies, new visions for ocean access are coming to reality. And I want to be around long enough to see submersibles with spheres of glass, to take anybody who's out there who wants to go, kids, CEOs, ministers, presidents of corporations, anybody, what do you do? Are you a lawyer? Are you a teacher? Are you a mom? Are you a dad? Wouldn't you like to go out deep in the sea in a submarine and come back? Of course, come back. All right, count your blessings. Instead of thinking doom and gloom, woe is us, and there's plenty of that to be concerned about. But if you have to be born anywhere in time, choose now. Now we know that we have a chance. We still have 10% of the sharks, little less than that of the bluefin tuna. We have at least half of the coral reefs in pretty good shape. Bad news, they're like this, they're dying, but they're not all gone. We still have a chance to individually and together do what it takes to turn things from this to a new time, so that by the end of this century, we can see this positive change take place. Last week, I was in Cancun, Mexico, attending the Economist World Ocean Forum. The Economist, for heaven's sake. You would think that those business blokes would be thinking about how do we use the ocean, how do we embrace the blue economy in terms of extracting everything we can, every penny, every pound, every ounce of whatever we can put in the bank from the ocean. No. Those hard-headed businessmen, those ministers, even the president of Mexico came to salute the importance of finding the balance, respecting nature, realizing that the economy is owned by the environment. We derive the benefits that we believe are important for our prosperity. Where does it come from? It comes from the natural systems that keep us alive, and we've been taking. But now we can see the consequences, and we realize if there are to be sharks, we have to stop killing them. Every shark is precious. Every shark has the potential for making more sharks. We have a chance to restore what has been lost if we take it seriously. If we realize sharks need a healthy ocean, we need a healthy ocean. If they are prospering, there's a better chance that we too will prosper. The great news is that kids care. This picture was taken in Hong Kong, the great place for marketing sharks and shark fins. But just look, 1,000 school kids raising their arms, saying with their voice, using their power to say, we love sharks. We want to take care of sharks. Kids are out there picking up the trash that all preceding humans have put into the ocean, especially those who have been around in recent times, discarding those things that we thought would somehow go away. A big percentage of what is now floating around in the ocean and continuing to kill and poison the ocean actually comes from the extravagant activity known as industrial fishing, taking on a scale that is, with no matter how you look at it, look at the evidence, it's not sustainable. People can take some for choices or even for necessity of life from the sea. But the scale at which we're currently extracting wildlife from the ocean is killing the ocean. And not very good for us when you think that it comes back to us through the food chain, the toxins we're putting into the ocean. Good news that leaders around the world are beginning to realize that the prosperity of their people depends on taking care of the natural systems that make our existence possible, make our economy possible, make our prosperity, our health, our security in a world of really unfriendly options. Would you like to set up housekeeping on Mars? Good luck with that. Maybe it'll happen, but for 7 billion of us, not anytime soon. So here, I had the privilege of watching the President of the United States at the time, George W. Bush, was not widely celebrated for his environmental ethic, but he did, with a stroke of his pen, protect what was the largest area of the ocean at the time, where even the fish were safe. What a concept. A few years later, I got to be a witness again with President Obama, who quadrupled the size of that great gift, not just to the country where I live, but to the world and to life on Earth, safeguarding our life support system. And you know what? It's an idea that's catching on. So last November, I witnessed the President of Mexico make a gift to the world, the largest marine protected area in North America, aside from the offshore Hawaiian activity, around the area in the West Coast. It's amazing. It seems like the right thing, the good thing to do. A few weeks ago, in Chile, the woman that you see at the podium is an individual who, with her husband, Doug Tompkins, acquired personally, using their wealth, to buy land. Well, it's hard to buy the ocean. We can use the ocean, you can get leases, but can you buy the ocean? Well, you can buy the land and give it, and that's what the Tompkins have done in Chile. We're looking at hundreds of thousands of acres given back as green parks, protecting the land, protecting the wildlife, protecting creatures such as this that are becoming increasingly rare. Like sharks in the ocean, we have the capacity to kill every one if we choose to, or we have the choice to protect them and in so doing protect ourselves. Just last week, I witnessed the president of Brazil contemplating actions that are imminent, maybe in the next few weeks, if enough voices come his way, to implement the big plan to protect a large part of the waters of Brazil. What a concept! Leaders of countries around the world stepping up and saying, we have the power, backed by the power of the people, to take action while we have time, before we have killed the last shark, before we have lost the last tuna, before the last coral reef falls into a state of disrepair. Just a year ago, a number of nations got together and agreed to establish the largest marine protected area so far on the planet, the Ross Sea in Antarctica. It's part of that vast area known as the global commons. Half of the world belongs to everyone. If it belongs to anyone, the fish think that it belongs to them. The whales would probably argue with that. They say, no, the ocean is ours. And the little phytoplankton organisms say, you've got to be kidding. We own the ocean, if anybody does, because without us, you don't exist. We have the power, for now at least, to take action. Each of us has the capacity to do something, to embrace the wild, the places that are still in pretty good shape on the land and in the sea. Hope spots. That's the idea behind Mission Blue, to get people to nominate places that they cherish, that they will commit to doing something to bring about protection. Ultimately, it takes governments, but governments can't act unless the people are behind them. And half the world, the high seas, is right now on the chopping block. Are we going to protect our global commons from deep sea mining, from aggressive fishing by a dozen nations? Are we going to say, whoa, wait a minute, we need the ocean because I like to breathe. We need the ocean because the ocean governs climate. It holds most of Earth's water. It holds most of Earth's life. And now, early in the 21st century, we get it. We did not know. No one could know 100 years ago, even 50 years ago. I don't really blame them, but I will be blamed by those 50 years in the future if all of us fail to do everything in our power, to take action while we can, to safeguard the natural systems that keep us alive, provide hope for all of the future, hope for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.